At 9:18 in the morning, somewhere deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, a nuclear submarine sent its final broken message. The words were incomplete, distorted, almost as if something was already going terribly wrong. Then, without warning, silence. No explosion, no distress call, just a sudden disappearance. In a matter of seconds, USS Thresher, one of the most advanced submarines ever built, vanished from the world above. No debris surfaced. No survivors were found. Only questions remained, buried beneath thousands of meters of dark, crushing water. But this was not just any submarine. USS Thresher represented the cutting edge of Cold War engineering. At a time when the United States and the Soviet Union were locked in a silent war beneath the oceans, submarines had become the ultimate weapons of stealth and power. They moved unseen, unheard, carrying the ability to track enemies or launch devastating attacks. And Thresher was designed to be superior in every way, faster, quieter, and capable of diving deeper than any of its predecessors. Commissioned in 1961, Thresher was powered by a nuclear reactor, allowing it to remain submerged for long periods without surfacing.
A predator of the deep.
This made it a true predator of the deep. It carried advanced sonar systems that could detect distant targets, and weapons designed to neutralize threats before being noticed. To the Navy, it was more than just a vessel. It was a symbol of technological dominance, a machine built to master the ocean itself. But the deeper you go into the ocean, the less forgiving it becomes. Every component of Thresher had to perform flawlessly under extreme pressure. At great depths, the ocean exerts a force so powerful that even a small weakness can turn deadly in seconds. Steel bends, systems fail, and once something goes wrong, there is no easy way back to the surface. That is why submarines like Thresher undergo rigorous testing. Before they are trusted in real missions, they must prove they can survive the harshest conditions imaginable. In early 1963, Thresher entered the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard for a major overhaul. Engineers inspected critical systems, repaired worn components, and upgraded essential parts of the submarine. This process was routine but vital. Every valve, every pipe, every connection had to be checked. Because deep underwater, even the smallest flaw can trigger a chain reaction of failure. After months of work, everything appeared ready. The submarine was cleared to return to sea. On the 9th of April, 1963, USS Thresher departed for its sea trials, final tests designed to push the submarine to its limits. On board were 129 people, including
sir.
Experienced crew members,
Sonar
naval
still picking-
officers, engineers, and civilian specialists. Their objective was simple: descend to great depths, test performance, and return safely. Above them, the rescue ship USS Skylark followed closely, maintaining constant communication. As Thresher slowly disappeared beneath the waves, everything seemed normal. Calm voices, routine updates, no signs of danger. But far below the surface, something unseen was already beginning to go wrong. For Inspire Us, please do like and subscribe. As USS Thresher continued its descent into the Atlantic, the pressure outside the hull increased rapidly. Hundreds of meters below the surface, sunlight disappears, and the ocean becomes a world of darkness and silence. Inside the submarine, everything depended on precision. Every gauge, every valve, every system had to function perfectly. At first, reports sent to the USS Skylark remained calm and routine. Depth increasing, systems normal. The test was proceeding exactly as expected. But then, at around 9:12 a.m., the situation changed. A message came through, short, controlled, but unusual. Thresher reported experiencing minor difficulties.
Control, this is the
There was no
Thresher.
panic
We are
in the voice,
experiencing
no
hull stress at
urgency,
berth 500
just a
feet.
professional update on the surface. The crew of the Skylark listened
Minor
carefully,
difficulties.
but nothing seemed immediately alarming. Submarines often faced small technical issues during deep dives. It was part of the process. Still, something about the timing and the depth made this message different. Moments later, another transmission followed. This time, it was less clear. Words were distorted, broken, as if interference was increasing. The message suggested that the crew was attempting to blow ballast, a procedure used to force the submarine to rise quickly by pushing air into ballast tanks and expelling water. This was not routine anymore. This was a recovery action. Something had gone wrong deep inside the submarine, and they were trying to get back to the surface. Then came the final communication. It was incomplete, almost unintelligible. Fragments of words, cut off by static. And then, nothing. The connection was lost. No further signals. No confirmation. Just silence. The Skylark attempted to re-establish contact, calling again and again. But the ocean gave no response. Beneath them, somewhere in the darkness, USS Thresher had stopped answering. What the surface crew didn't know at that moment was that a deadly chain reaction had likely already begun. Investigations later suggested that a high-pressure pipe in the engine room may have failed. Seawater forced in by immense pressure could have started flooding critical areas. In such conditions, even a small leak becomes unstoppable. Water spreads rapidly, short-circuiting electrical systems and shutting down essential controls inside the submarine. Time would have been running out. As water entered the vessel, the crew likely attempted an emergency ascent. But another problem made the situation even worse. Moisture in the high-pressure air system used to blow ballast tanks may have frozen due to rapid expansion. Ice formed inside the valves, blocking the flow of air. Without enough force to push water out of the ballast tanks, the submarine could not rise. Instead, it continued to sink, deeper, beyond the limits it was ever designed to survive. As USS Thresher continued to sink, the pressure outside the hull became overwhelming. At such depths, the ocean exerts a force so powerful that even thick steel begins to weaken. Inside, the crew would have been racing against time systems failing, water spreading, and control slipping away. Every attempt to recover was becoming harder, and with each passing second, the submarine was moving closer to a point of no return. Then, at a depth beyond its safe limit, the inevitable happened. The hull could no longer withstand the crushing pressure. In an instant, the submarine imploded. It was sudden, violent, and irreversible. There was no time to react, no chance to escape. All 129 people on board were lost in a fraction of a second as the ocean closed in around them. Above the surface, the USS Skylark waited, calling out again and again, but there was no response, only silence. Shortly after, unusual underwater sounds were detected, sharp, distant signals that were later believed to be the sound of the submarine collapsing. But at that moment, no one knew for certain. What they did know was that something had gone terribly wrong. Days later, search operations began. The Navy deployed ships and deep-sea equipment to locate the missing submarine. Eventually, the wreckage was found scattered across the ocean floor, more than 2,500 meters deep. The debris field confirmed the worst. The submarine had been destroyed under immense pressure. There were no survivors. Only fragments remained. The loss of USS Thresher changed everything. It became the first nuclear submarine ever lost at sea. In response, the U.S. Navy introduced the SubSafe program, one of the strictest safety systems ever created. Every component, every system, every detail would now be tested with absolute precision to prevent such a disaster from ever happening again. Today, USS Thresher rests silently in the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. A powerful machine now part of the sea it was built to master. Its story remains a reminder that no matter how advanced technology becomes, the ocean is always stronger, and sometimes it keeps its secrets forever.